In part 4 of this video series with Adam Apollo, one of the most brilliant minds on the planet, and guest co-host Laura Stadler, Adam Apollo introduces us to the Guardian Alliance Academy and a wealth of additional resources for those who are interested in healing their emotional trauma, integrating their shadows, and rising to a higher consciousness level.
Yeah, I want to ask another question now.
Please
Sure.
do. Yeah, go
I mean,
ahead.
it's such a great, way of describing it, and it's really, become, I think we're, even as a civilization, we're all, at this transitionary stage where we're looking at these things and becoming aware of our triggers and going through our, doing our work. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what has been the most helpful for you to access those subconscious, kind of, blocked out pieces? Obviously, there's a lot of different therapeutic methods and trauma therapies and things like that. But what do you feel is one of the best ways to kind of bridge that access?
Well, I think that it's important to point out that those things will automatically come up through relationship. And the reality is that all of us, I think, deal with the arising of old unconscious patterns in our closest relationships. And when we're kind of blind to the fact that that's happening, it's real challenging. And people may go through decades of having really tough relationships where they feel like the other person's always blaming them for something, or it's always, it's like that they don't understand why the other person is like, yo, you're like, why are you doing this? Like, what is this that you're doing? And you're like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing, it's all you, it's a bounce back. And that's usually because we're blocking our capacity to see some facet in us. And as happens, sometimes it's actually a lie. It's a mistruth that we've told ourselves. We've told ourselves a story about ourselves, and we believe that story to be true, even if that story isn't fundamentally true. There isn't anything about it that's actually true. And this can speak to a lot of different kinds of dynamics between people. But I will say that it's going to come up for you whether you actively seek it out or not, whether you actively go to dig it out or not. If you're in relationships with other people, you're going to have to face your shadows. You're going to have to face it. And this is, I think, part of the divine gift, so to speak, of what relationship is all about. Relationships help us to know ourselves, to accept ourselves, to see who we are, to better understand our strengths and our weaknesses, to better understand the places where we feel strong and where we feel weak, or we judge ourselves in comparison to others. And very much so, when we go into intimate depths with people, we have to face the intimate depths of the truth inside of us. And that means, how are we holding ourselves, and how have we treated ourselves, and what is our judgments of ourselves and others, and are we actually in acceptance of everything that we are, especially when we're triggered, especially when we get mad, especially when we have things come up. And a lot of the things that come up for people, it's actually nervous system based. So your nervous system is reacting to a situation that reminds it of a situation when you were in trauma or you were in a state of challenge. And so the body, there's a great book out there that my primary partner has, and has been very educational in her work, and I think for me as well, exploring bits of it. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. And The Body Keeps the Score does a really beautiful job of showing how the nervous system remembers the thing whether or not you consciously remember it or not. So when your nervous system is reacting and you feel all that trigger and all that stuff, you may not even know why that is, but the body does. And there are a lot of things like somatic therapy that can be very helpful for that. Learning by actually putting yourself in the physical positions or the postures that maybe you had during states of pain, and accessing those nervous system states, but in a safe container where you can breathe through it and move through it and accept it. That's a really, really powerful mechanism in this. And there's other work like family constellation work where you have people that support you in being specific family members and feeling yourself deal with the dynamic of facing those people again or facing those situations again. But I do find that some of the most profound levels of depth in trauma healing, actually more than anything else, actually really just comes from accepting those experiences. And this can be a practice you can do on your own. You don't need a therapist for it. You don't need somebody to hold your hand through it. You can actually just go back and let yourself start thinking about and remembering the things that happened, and allow yourself to go forward and backward in time through the memories and try to access all the stuff that was there and notice, is there fear? Is there grief? Is there anger? What are the feelings? And whatever they are, you can accept those parts of you as okay. And noticing that you've actually developed skills because of the traumas that you went through. So for me, in one case, there was a very manipulative person in my life as a young child, especially going into my teens, and I became extraordinarily sensitive to manipulation. And that actually made me a much better guardian because I could tell when someone is attempting to, pull something off on someone or lie to them or to whatever. And I could sense where that field is and where that out of integrity is and where that manipulation is. And also, the sort of subconscious emotional manipulation that can come out because we've been through trauma. And so I had like a lot of radar because of that skill. And so I learned that I could give thanks for that part of me. I'm thankful that there's a part of me that's sensitive to that. I'm thankful that there's a part of me that knows that I'm powerful enough to just break through things whenever I'm stuck, because I have this inside of me, that's there. And if I channel that in a good way, in a positive way, towards positive changes in my life, it can be extremely powerful. And so the anger stuff I dealt with my stepdad can become aspects of me that are my passion and my fire and my ability to make change. And so as you get to know each of these shadows, you start to reveal the gift inside of them for you. And the more you love that part of you, the more you love that gift inside of you and what you went through to get here and to get to where you are now, the more easy it is actually to have all of these parts of you be at peace and be in harmony and be in your life now. So I'll give a couple more resources just for those listening out there. There's a wonderful book by Carolyn Elliott called Existential Kink, which is also about getting to know the darker shadow aspects of your psyche and learning how to love and embrace those parts of you that have those stray thoughts or bad thoughts or whatever, instead of repressing and rejecting them and thinking they're bad or evil or that it's some other being trying to control you. To actually take responsibility for them and love them, you gain the power over them, and you gain the ability to channel them and to work with them in much, much more powerful ways. And so highly, highly recommend her work in that space. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other kinds of trauma healing work out there, but in terms of just general self-development and facing your darkest shadows and the parts of you that you're afraid of, I also deeply recommend the Gene Keys. And the Gene Keys is, it's a life-changing work to explore by my dear friend Richard Rudd. And you can go on to Gene Keys website at genekeys.com, GENES or sorry, GENEKEYS .com or .net. I think it's .com. And you can just download your free hologenetic profile. You just put in your birth date and location. And then I recommend people get the Gene Keys book from Amazon. And what you do is you just read your gene keys of your birth chart in sequence. And it's extraordinarily transformational because you read each chapter and he reveals how inside of us are all of these different genetic imperatives, shadows, which are evolutionary challenges that we face in our lives, that we have a very real experience of, that's difficult in our lives. And that through engaging with and understanding these aspects of ourselves, we begin actually awakening greater gifts inside of us. And those greater gifts evolve into being the greatest gifts that we give the world in our entire lives. And so it's an alchemical process of transforming from states of challenge to states of grace. And he really puts it well, because the shadows are the drivers of evolution. You know, if you think about it, like every species that's evolved a certain superpower or ability to deal with a certain kind of thing came from a challenge in their environment or in their world. And so just like we genetically evolve this way, we spiritually evolve this way as well.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Laura, do you have any further questions?
No, I'm good. I just was thinking, this might be a good opportunity for Adam to talk a little bit more about his trainings and, kind of more on the energetic training side of things, and, what people might want to know about in terms of his work and what he offers.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you can get to know my work at my own website, adamapollo.com. There's tons and tons of free videos, and also DJ sets I've done over the last 25 years, and lots of fun stuff to explore there. And then if you're interested in exploring the Guardian Alliance Academy, which we talked about a little bit, you can go to guardian.is or guardianalliance.academy. And inside of this space, there's all kinds of really cool things you can do. The badges area shows you the sort of progress where you can start with the initiation course, go through Mastery Ring 1, and then you develop into Mastery Ring 2, and you can access courses here. And that's about as far as we've gotten so far, but there's a lot of different amazing courses here. Every course has a whole library of knowledge and information and resources. It's got the I Ching and the Gene Key associated with the course, which is connected to the self-development work that you do. It shows the primary teacher of the course and whoever else worked on it. You'll see I'm a secondary author in a lot of them. And, as you go through the course, there's all kinds of amazing content and different experiences and practices you can do to develop different skills. And a lot of it is not just text, but video. And when you get to the end, you'll get this media review page, and you can just see how many amazing practices and videos, for example, are just inside this one course. This is just the warrior course, the intro course. And so there's a lot of amazing, beautiful practices through each one of the courses. And then there are arenas where you can connect with other users. And for example, the warriors, if you're taking warrior courses, you can come here and you can share and communicate and talk with other warriors that are taking warrior courses in the platform when those people are active. And yeah, and then there's a lot of more advanced Ring 2 courses. If you feel like you've got a lot of experience in these things, you could jump right into, say, like Wizard's Weird, which is a course I did on very, very advanced metaphysical and magical applications. It's mostly video based. Starwalker Synthesis, which is an epic experience of galactic species and galactic history. And then like my friend Adrian's work on Dance Jedi, which is an amazing course that teaches you all kinds of really epic movements, techniques, and skills for dance. That's kind of like martial arts. And he's a total, master mover and Shaker. And there's a lot of other courses throughout here. My most recent one I just released is called Divine Sex, and that one is actually all about accessing erotic miracles and how do you actually move through sexual healing and unlock multi-orgasmic states in your body. And it has both very poetic lessons where you're just reading stories out of my book that's coming out called The Dragon Key, which are these intimate stories. And then there's also full video content recorded from all of the live sessions from that course. And, if you're just trying to figure out your way around, there's a whole orientation section, and it teaches you about the areas and all of the things that you can do there. You get a profile and you earn badges and stuff as you go along, and you can share and interact with people, in shared spaces in things like the activity stream and etc. So it's a really, really deep dive academy. There's a lot of things that you can do and explore there. And a lot of this work that we're doing in the Guardian Alliance is getting migrated into CoreNexus, which is my social operating system experience that I'm building. And you're able to navigate through content in all kinds of super amazing ways. And it's both kind of 2D and 3D. So you can fly through social content. You'll be able to import your entire social networks, as I was talking about, and have all of that back in your own database. And you can own and control it. And it's got all kinds of epic ways to view and explore content. These are some of the fun ways that you can do it. This is the Helix view, which is a lot like kind of a Facebook stories style view with video and audio content and that kind of thing. And if you're just into the news feed, we also are working on that view as well. That's just kind of the standard scroller style view. And that one's still in progress. And then, you can create all kinds of content. We're working on, right now we have AI collaboration, sort of superpowers where you can work with AI to create and generate content faster. But down the road, you'll be able to create, episodic audio content, like an albums of music, video content, arts, courses, etc. You'll be able to report local civic issues and create missions for you and your community to take on locally. You can tokenize value communities and exchange value within communities that way. And all of this is kind of AR based, so it's designed to eventually work well for artificial reality views, excuse me, and virtual reality views. And it's all themable. So you have Stark theme, night theme. This is Matrix for those that are into the movie The Matrix, kind of style, and Pearl. And then we have some other kind of standard, more like business style themes coming through. The first versions of Profile are there, and in this case here, we have courses from local Stewards Academy that we're going into the system. And and then we're also integrating some really, really cool AI tools like Mirror, which is my CTO built with his friend Jack, our friend Jack from like long time ago. And you just put in your birthday, birth time, and it can tell you everything about your relationship dynamics, what's changing right now, what kind of transits you're going through, give you a birth chart reading, how do you, help you express certain emotions or deal with certain things. One of my favorite things to do in it is ask it, what my superpowers are, which is really fun. And it will essentially give you, a full breakdown of like, my superpowers are mental mastery, intuitive empathy, spiritual awakening, transformation, and resilience. It tells me what kind of costume I should have and what kind of color scheme I can have. It's really fun. And we're going to integrate that where it will, inside of your CoreNexus profile, actually have your key superpowers automatically generated and listed there for you, which I think is really fun. And then you can go deeper into Mirror if you want to have that sort of astrological coach on a daily level in your life, just to ask any questions of any time you want. And we also have other AI systems that we're building. Right now, we're prototyping this system where I, for example, took my book, The Dragon Key, and I attached it to an agent, and you'll be able to load that agent just like you click on a node here, except for it'll open the communications panel and you'll be in communication with that agent. And the way it works is like I can create an agent that knows everything about my book, The Dragon Key. And just because I uploaded it to there, and now I just told it, hey, make me a course outline based on this book. And it says, great. And so literally it wrote me an entire outline to create a course based on my book. And then I had it elaborate. And now it elaborates out each and every section. And then what we're getting it to a point of is where I'll be able to ask it to create a course based on my writing. And it will not only outline the course, but it'll create the modules. And then it will actually flesh out each one of those modules with a draft based on the content that I already created. And so, and in my own voice. So it's taking the work I've already done and accelerating my ability to turn it into a useful product that will actually be amazing for people to receive and to read and to learn from. And of course, you'll want to always edit it yourself and evolve it. But getting that jump start is huge because if you're like me, you've done a lot of projects and it's difficult to do a lot of big content projects, especially like courses, can be really, really hard to put together. Yeah, and then the starship view, which I may have mentioned, but we have a view where people are stars and planets are their collections, where you can literally fly in on people's star systems. So you can imagine if this is my friend Corel, and here's Corel's planets. Corel can also link over to Nemo. And when she puts a link there to Nemo, I can click on her Stargate. And now I literally fly through a Stargate to experience Nemo's star system.
Wow.
And he has
That's
a planet over
amazing.
here, which is his collection of photos from his university days. And he's got another planet over here, which is, his videos from different conferences that he's been in. And I can fly in and on those planets. And where that's going is to be able to just go in. And then the next step is I click into the planet. And now I'm right down into the actual, hex grid of the content of that planet and be able to explore it. So this is built by our friends at Turbulent, who are partners of ours. And basically the only next step that needs to happen, which we hope to do around the end of this year or early spring next year, is hook in our back end so that all the stars and planets are generated by the actual network inside of our systems and our site. So yeah, so that's just a little bit, and I think the kids will love the ability, like, whoa, I'm flying around in space, and whoa, there's my buddy Killian, and I fly there, and now I'm in his star system, and I'm looking at his planets, and I can jump through his wormholes, and I mean, it's just really a cool experience. And there's cool things like I can show the links between people that way, so I can actually map the sort of spider web threads of connection between my galaxy of my community, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about what we're building, a kind of sneak peek. And we have just private alphas open right now, but if you're interested in getting on our waiting list, you can do that at CoreNexus.is or core.nexus, either way, CORE.NEXUS. And please get on our waiting list because we're going to open up a crowdfunding campaign at the end of this year with a bunch of super epic perks for people. And we'll be opening the private alpha, and the first people that get in, you're going to get a lot of benefits from that because we're going to launch this thing globally through our massive 100 million network of Unify. And if you've ever seen the rise of a new social network, especially this one, because we're not throttling, we don't own and control your data, you own and control everything. When that goes off on a rise, the first people in it, it's going to be pretty easy to have 1 million followers or more just because you'll be one of the first people on the platform. So come and join us, get on the waiting list, and we're excited to have you as part of this experience.
Adam, this is just astonishing.
Thank you.
So cutting edge. And if you don't mind me saying, I truly believe that you are one of the most brilliant minds of this century.
Thank you.
You just blow me away.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been such a pleasure to be here with you, Cindy and Laura. Great to catch up with you both and to just hear your experiences and share with your audience. I really appreciate you having me on this session. If you get on my website list, adamapollo.com, just sign up on my mailing list, or on Guardian Alliance. If you sign up there, you'll get emails from me about upcoming adventures and retreats and things that I have planned.
Perfect. Laura, is there anything you'd like to add?
I'm just expressing gratitude. Just, you've been such a great teacher already, and I just look forward to what you have coming out and what your vision is and what you're trying to accomplish. I really admire what you're doing, and just just look forward to seeing how things evolve.
Thanks again to both of you, Laura and Adam.
Thank you,
See you
Cindy.
next time.
Thank you. Aloha.
If you don't already have your copy of Adam's Gift, get your copy today at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, or ArchwayPublications.com.